Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back. We're doing another wrestling video. We're going to do WWE 2K20 again, and we're going to do a universe mode where we only draft people who have wrestled or appeared in TNA. Not necessarily have to have wrestled for TNA as long as they appeared in TNA in some form. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run down all the participants in the universe mode. I'm going to go through it for a year like I always do. And we're going to have a good time doing it. And hey guys, don't forget to subscribe. It helps me out a lot, and you got nothing to lose, really. And like the video if you think you like it, you know, after you watch it, of course. But anyway, let's get to it. Alright, so my first recruit, of course, is going to be AJ Styles. He was at his peak in TNA, I will tell you that much. Alright, next we got Bobby Lashley, who made a pretty big impact in TNA. I'm pretty sure he won the TNA World title at one point. And then, of course, we got Booker T. He was in TNA for a little bit. Oh, also, you can't forget the Brian Kendrick. He wrestled in TNA for a bit. And, of course, we can't forget Christian, who wrestled under the name Christian Cage, and who currently is wrestling under the name Christian Cage in AEW. All right, next we're going to get Drew McIntyre, who also made a pretty big impact in TNA. Of course, he was under a different name, Drew Galloway, I'm pretty sure. Oh man, yeah, we can't forget Eric Young, who currently is in Impact Wrestling, which isn't known as TNA anymore, but I still like to call it TNA. And another one who is also currently signed to Impact Wrestling, Heath Slater. And, you know, unfortunately we also have to have Hulk Hogan. Now, Jake the Snake Roberts, I think he wrestled maybe one match in TNA, but it still counts. Oh yeah, we cannot forget about Jeff Hardy's reign in TNA. That was pretty infamous, if you ask me. And Jim Neidhart did make a small appearance in a match one time, I think, in TNA. I know that he did. That's why I'm adding him in there. And of course, you know, Carl Anderson, who is also currently signed to Impact Wrestling, along with Luke Gallows, who we'll get to here in a minute. Oh yeah, Kevin Nash, he was in TNA for quite a while too. And Kurt Angle, he was big in TNA. He did a lot there, I'll tell you that. And Lex Luger, he did wrestle one match in TNA. I looked it up. He was there for a little bit. And now we're at Luke Gallows, who's of course the tag team champions with Carl Anderson. Gotta make them the tag team champions. I mean, they're currently in Impact Wrestling. I mean, why not? I'm putting Mankind on the list, even though Mankind didn't really appear in TNA. It was Mick Foley, but it still counts, same person. And we also have to have Maria Kanellis, who is one of only two females in this game who were in TNA. And next we got Matt Hardy, who made quite an impact in TNA as well. And next we have the other female that was in TNA that's in this game, Mickie James. And of course we can't forget Mike Kanellis, who is wrestling under his real name now, Mike Bennett. Alright, next we got R-Truth, who did a lot in TNA. He was pretty big in TNA back in the day. And next we have Randy Savage, who wrestled for a little bit in TNA. I don't think he did much. I think he might have wrestled one or two matches. He was in TNA for a little bit, just making appearances, and then all of a sudden he was gone. And I think that was his last wrestling appearance, honestly. Now, of course, you know, you have to have Ric Flair, who, after he retired, which, you know, I was there at WrestleMania 24, saw Shawn Michaels defeat Ric Flair, saw him retire, cry and everything, and then he came to TNA and wrestled some more. Oh yeah, you definitely can't forget Robert Roode. He definitely made an impact on Impact. And Rowdy Roddy Piper, I'm pretty sure he had a couple appearances in TNA. Yeah, and we cannot forget Samoa Joe. He was the face of TNA, along with AJ Styles, I think. They were the face of TNA back in the day before they signed the WWE. Yeah, you got to put Scott Hall in there too. Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, we go everywhere together. Not a lot of people know that Shinsuke Nakamura had a match on TNA. One single match against Elix Skipper, so that counts. And we also have Sin Cara, who was wrestling under a different name at the time. I'm not sure, but it still counts. Same person. And of course, we cannot forget Sting, who was in TNA for a long time. I wouldn't say he was the face of TNA, but he definitely stayed there for a while. Alright, and to finish things off, we got two guys who, one is currently signed to TNA, the other was pretty huge in TNA himself. Xavier Woods, who wrestled under the name Consequences Creed. And we also got Zack Ryder, who is currently on Impact. So that's it, guys. We got 34 wrestlers. That's a perfect size for a universe mode, I think. So we're going to get started here in just a second after I edit the divisions. All right, we're going to start things off like we always do with Money in the Bank. Our first match, we got Xavier Woods versus Robert Roode. The second match is Mickie James versus Maria Kanellis challenging for that women's title. They're going to be the only two challenging for the women's title, so it's just going to go back and forth between them. Currently, Maria Kanellis is the champion. All right, our next match, we got R-Truth versus Zack Ryder. Next, we have Eric Young versus Sin Cara. Then we got the Hardy Boys challenging Anderson and Gallows, the Good Brothers, for the tag team titles. And next, we have the Money in the Bank ladder match with all of those guys. It'd be interesting to see who wins. Next, we got Lex Luger challenging Bobby Lashley for the World Heavyweight title. That is actually very interesting. If that match could exist, that would be pretty awesome to see. And the main event, as always for these Money in the Bank things, is an 8-man ladder match that doesn't really mean anything. So, let's get to it. Looks like Xavier Woods beat Robert Roode. Maria Kanellis is retaining that title tonight. R-Truth beat Zack Ryder. Eric Young beat Sin Cara. It looks like the Hardy Boys could not beat the Good Brothers. And Hollywood Hulk Hogan is our Money in the Bank winner. You hate to see it. It looks like Bobby Lashley retained his title against Lex Luger. And it looks like Randy Savage won that 8-man ladder match. I would actually rather him be the Money in the Bank winner than Hulk Hogan. If you can't tell, I don't really like Hulk Hogan. Let's go ahead and move on. All right, the next pay-per-view, we got Extreme Rules, and kicking things off, Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley in an Extreme Rules match. I would love to see it, but we're just going to simulate this today. All right, next we got R-Truth versus Zack Ryder. Mickie James challenging Maria, of course. Hardy Boys versus the Good Brothers. Shinsuke challenging the Brian Kendrick for that United States title. I don't have any TNA titles in here. I wanted to get some custom titles, but I really didn't have time to make any, and it doesn't really make a difference, I don't think. Next, we got Booker T taking on Christian. Then we got Randy Savage taking on Lex Luger. Then Sting taking on Samoa Joe. And then we got Hulk Hogan taking on Ric Flair in the main event. This is a pretty stacked match. If I could see these matches in real life, that would be awesome. So let's see what happens. And Drew McIntyre beat Bobby Lashley for the world title. So Drew McIntyre is our new world champion. R-Truth beat Zack Ryder. Maria Kanellis retains her title against Mickie James. Mickie will get it one of these days. The Hardy Boys could not beat the Good Brothers again. And it looks like the Brian Kendrick has retained his title against Shinsuke. Booker T beat Christian. Lex Luger beat Randy Savage. Sting beat Samoa Joe. And Hollywood Hulk Hogan beat Ric Flair. You hate to see it. All right, let's move on. All right, when I limit my roster to 30 people, these matchups seem to be a lot better. I'm starting to see way better matchups in everything. So SummerSlam should be pretty packed. And starting things off, we got Samoa Joe challenging Drew McIntyre for that world title. Friggin' awesome. We got the Hardy Boys taking on the Good Brothers. Zack Ryder taking on Heath Slater. Eric Young taking on Jim Neidhart. We got Scott Hall teaming with Maria to take on Roddy Piper and Mickie James. Interesting. We got the Brian Kendrick defending his title against Jake Roberts. We got R-Truth taking on Xavier Woods. We got Ric Flair taking on Christian. Shinsuke Nakamura taking on Robert Roode. Bobby Lashley taking on Kurt Angle. These matches are outstanding. Hollywood Hulk Hogan taking on Mankind. Sting taking on Booker T. And the main event, Randy Savage versus Lex Luger. Why put all the title matches at the beginning? That doesn't make any sense. Well, let's see what happens. So it looks like Drew McIntyre retains his title, and the Hardy Boys are our new tag team champions. That's awesome. Then we got Heath Slater beating Zack Ryder. Jim Neidhart beat Eric Young. Roddy Piper and Mickie James beat Scott Hall and Maria. It looks like the Brian Kendrick retains his title. Xavier Woods beats R-Truth. Ric Flair beats Christian. Shinsuke Nakamura beats Robert Roode. It looks like Kurt Angle beat Bobby Lashley. Hollywood Hulk Hogan beat Mankind. Sting beat Booker T. And finally, Lex Luger beat Randy Savage. Awesome. Let's move on. All right, next we got Hell in a Cell. We got Ric Flair taking on Roddy Piper to kick things off. R-Truth taking on Xavier Woods. Brian Kendrick is again challenging, well, I should say Jake Roberts is challenging the Brian Kendrick for the United States Championship. I don't know why they're reversed like that. Got the Good Brothers challenging for those titles. I do have another tag team in here in the form of Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, but I haven't seen them show up yet to challenge for the titles. We got Booker T taking on Christian. Samoa Joe challenging Drew McIntyre for that title again. Randy Savage taking on Sting. Hulk Hogan taking on Lex Luger. That'd be an awesome match. And we got Mickie James taking on Maria Kanellis in the main event. So let's see what happens. All right, it looks like Ric Flair beat Roddy Piper. Xavier Woods beat R-Truth. Jake Roberts is our new United States champion. Interesting. And it looks like the Good Brothers got those titles back. Booker T beat Christian. Drew McIntyre retains his title once again. Sting beats Randy Savage. Hulk Hogan beats Lex Luger. And Mickie James just cannot take that title. All right, let's see what happens next. All right, next we got Super Showdown. Kicking things off, we got Shinsuke Nakamura challenging Jake Roberts for the United States title. We got Xavier Woods taking on Robert Roode. Mickie James is challenging Maria Kanellis again. R-Truth taking on Zack Ryder. Ric Flair taking on Roddy Piper. The Hardy Boys challenging the Good Brothers once again. Lex Luger challenging Booker T. Samoa Joe challenging Drew McIntyre once again. Hollywood Hulk Hogan taking on Kurt Angle. And Randy Savage taking on Sting. So let's see how this goes. All right, looks like Jake Roberts retains his United States title. Robert Roode beats Xavier Woods. Maria retains her title once again. We got R-Truth beating Zack Ryder. Roddy Piper beats Ric Flair. The Hardy Boys could not take those titles back from the Good Brothers. Looks like Lex Luger beat Booker T. Samoa Joe is our new World Heavyweight Champion. That's awesome. He beat Drew McIntyre. Kurt Angle beat Hollywood Hogan. And Randy Savage beat Sting. Let's see what happens next. All right, next we got Survivor Series. Kicking things off, Drew McIntyre in a rematch for that world title. He wants it back. We got Zack Ryder taking on R-Truth. Mickie James, of course, challenging Maria. Roddy Piper taking on Christian. Xavier Woods taking on Eric Young. We got our Survivor Series match with Team Gallows versus Team Anderson. Interesting. We got Shinsuke challenging for that United States title again. Hulk Hogan taking on Kurt Angle once more. And Sting taking on Ric Flair. Let's see what happens. And Drew McIntyre takes that title back. He said, Samoa Joe. I am the rightful champion. I'm taking that title back. Looks like R-Truth beat Zack Ryder. Maria keeps retaining that title. I don't think Mickie James is ever going to become the women's champion. That really sucks. Christian beat Roddy Piper. Xavier Woods beat Eric Young. It looks like Team Anderson beat Team Gallows. Jake Roberts retains his title against Shinsuke. Kurt Angle beats Hollywood Hogan. You love to see it. And Sting beats Ric Flair. Awesome. Let's see what happens next. All right, it's time for tables, ladders, and chairs. We got Lex Luger taking on Randy Savage. The Hardy Boys taking on the Good Brothers for the titles. Eric Young taking on Heath Slater. Mickie James challenging Maria once more. Zack Ryder taking on R-Truth. Robert Roode taking on Jim Neidhart. Bobby Lashley taking on Ric Flair. Kurt Angle taking on Christian. Sting's taking on Roddy Piper. Samoa Joe is challenging Drew McIntyre for that title again. They're in a rivalry, and that thing's going to go back and forth. Hulk Hogan is going up against Booker T. And there's going to be a triple threat TLC match for the United States title. Jake Roberts, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Xavier Woods. That's awesome. Let's see what happens. It looks like Randy Savage beats Lex Luger. The Good Brothers retain their tag team championships. Heath Slater beats Eric Young. Oh, and Mickie James finally won the women's title. Let's see if she can hold on to it. Looks like R-Truth beats Zack Ryder. Jim Neidhart beat Robert Roode. Ric Flair beat Bobby Lashley. Christian beat Kurt Angle. Sting beat Roddy Piper. And Samoa Joe is the new World Heavyweight Champion. That thing just keeps going back and forth. Hulk Hogan beat Booker T. And it looks like Jake Roberts retains his title in that triple threat TLC match. Man, he's really holding on to it. Let's go to the Royal Rumble. All right, next we got the Royal Rumble. Kicking things off, we got Lex Luger taking on Booker T. Shinsuke taking on Heath Slater. Maria taking on Mickie James in a non-title match. R-Truth is challenging Jake Roberts for the United States title. That's awesome. The Hardy Boys taking on the Good Brothers once again. Drew McIntyre taking on Randy Savage. Interesting. Hulk Hogan taking on Kurt Angle as usual. Sting is challenging Samoa Joe for the title. That's awesome. And then, of course, we have our men's 20-man Royal Rumble because we don't have enough for 30, I guess. All right, so let's see what happens. It looks like Booker T beats Lex Luger. Shinsuke Nakamura beats Heath Slater. Maria Kanellis beats Mickie James in a non-title match. So Mickie James is still the champion. Jake Roberts retains his United States champion once again. He's had many challengers and nobody's been able to take it from him. The Good Brothers still hold on to those tag team championships. It looks like Drew McIntyre beats Randy Savage. Kurt Angle beats Hulk Hogan as usual. Sting could not take that title from Samoa Joe. And let's find out in the news who won the Royal Rumble. Lex Luger. So he's going to be challenging for the World Championship at WrestleMania. All right. So let's move on. All right, next we got the Elimination Chamber, which is always an interesting pay-per-view. Kicking things off, we got the Hardy Boys taking on the Good Brothers. Shinsuke taking on Heath Slater. Maria is taking on Mickie again in a non-title match for some reason. R-Truth taking on Jake Roberts. And we have an Elimination Chamber match with Kurt Angle, Roddy Piper, Xavier Woods, Christian, Mankind, and Lex Luger. Not for a title, though. Hollywood Hogan taking on Booker T. And then our Elimination Chamber match for the main event is for the title. We got Sting, Bobby Lashley, Randy Savage, Drew McIntyre, and Ric Flair challenging Samoa Joe for that World Heavyweight title. That would be really awesome. All right, let's see what happens. It looks like the Good Brothers keep retaining those titles. Shinsuke Nakamura beats Heath Slater. Mickie James beats Maria in a non-title match. R-Truth beats Jake Roberts. It looks like Lex Luger won that Elimination Chamber match. A good lead up to his WrestleMania main event. Hulk Hogan beats Booker T. And it looks like Randy Savage is now our new World Heavyweight Champion. That is awesome. So it's looking like it's going to be Randy Savage versus Lex Luger for the World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania. Now that's a main event. All right, let's move on. All right, now we're at Fastlane, a pay-per-view between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania that nobody asked for. So first we have the Elimination Chamber is a cool pay-per-view to have in between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, but Fastlane, I just don't think it's necessary. I think there should only be one pay-per-view in between the Rumble and WrestleMania, not two. Just too many things can happen, you know? That's how I feel. But anyway, kicking things off at Fastlane, Drew McIntyre is taking on Ric Flair. Eric Young is taking on Jim Neidhart. Maria Kanellis is challenging Mickie James for the women's title. Zack Ryder is taking on Sin Cara. And there's a fatal four-way for the United States Championship. That's awesome. R-Truth, Xavier Woods, and Robert Roode are challenging Jake Roberts. Shinsuke Nakamura is taking on Heath Slater. Samoa Joe is taking on Kurt Angle. Hulk Hogan is taking on Booker T. And wow, this isn't even WrestleMania yet, and Lex Luger is already challenging Randy Savage for the World Heavyweight title. You see, this is how things get messed up in between the Rumble and WrestleMania. This is exactly what I'm talking about. And the main event, for some reason, Roddy Piper taking on Sting. Not saying it wouldn't be a good match, just saying why. All right, let's see what happens. Ric Flair beats Drew McIntyre? Interesting. Okay. Jim Neidhart beats Eric Young. Interesting. Mickie James retains her title. That's awesome. Zack Ryder beats Sin Cara. And it looks like Jake Roberts keeps retaining that title. He keeps being put in situations, and he just keeps walking away with it. That's awesome. Heath Slater beats Shinsuke Nakamura. Kurt Angle beats Samoa Joe. Hollywood Hulk Hogan beat Booker T. And Lex Luger is our new world champion. So being the Royal Rumble winner and the champion going into WrestleMania, I don't know what's going to happen. And it looks like Roddy Piper beats Sting. So let's go to WrestleMania and see what happens. All right, kicking things off, we have Shinsuke Nakamura taking on Jake Roberts. Next, we got Bobby Lashley taking on Braun Strowman. What's Braun Strowman doing there? That makes absolutely no sense. It would be a good match, but Braun Strowman does not belong here. Mickie James taking on Maria in a non-title match. Why? Heath Slater taking on the Brian Kendrick. Jim Neidhart's taking on Zack Ryder. Robert Roode is taking on Eric Young. R-Truth is taking on Xavier Woods. Ric Flair's taking on Christian. Kurt Angle is taking on Mankind. And I guess it is going to be that same main event. Randy Savage is now challenging Lex Luger for the World Heavyweight Championship. Hollywood Hogan is taking on Booker T. Roddy Piper is taking on Sting. And Drew McIntyre is taking on Samoa Joe. All right, let's see what happens. It looks like Jake Roberts walks away as the United States champion. He's a very long-reigning champion. Bobby Lashley beat Braun Strowman. That's good to see because Braun doesn't really belong here. Maria beat Mickie James. It seems like when it's for the title, Maria can't beat Mickie, but when it isn't for the title, she can. Interesting. The Brian Kendrick beat Heath Slater. Jim Neidhart beat Zack Ryder. Robert Roode beat Eric Young. R-Truth beat Xavier Woods. Ric Flair beat Christian. Mankind beat Kurt Angle. And Lex Luger retains that World Heavyweight Championship, so that's awesome. Hollywood Hogan beat Booker T. Roddy Piper beat Sting. And in our main event, Drew McIntyre beats Samoa Joe. That would be an awesome main event, especially if it was for a title. Usually I would go to the next Raw and cash in the Money in the Bank, but it seems like the AI did it for me, and thankfully Hulk Hogan did not walk away as the champion, so I'm glad he never even came near it. So that actually makes me happy. So that was it, guys. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to see more videos like this, let me know. Let me know if you have any ideas for any other universe modes you want to see me do. I love doing this stuff. Let me know if you want me to show a match. I could show maybe the WrestleMania main event sometime. Just leave a message in the comments if you want me to do that. The reason I just go through them is because I'm not really good at commentary. If I had someone else to commentate with, it would probably be a different thing, but me doing it by myself, I'm just not good at it. I'm trying. Maybe I'll get there one day, but we'll see. Anyways, guys, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and make sure you leave a like, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.